So the Sur Ron's a really good bike, but it does need some basic maintenance. Not as much as a traditional motorbike because there's probably less moving parts, but the simple things we need to look after: the chain, the spokes, and just general tightening of nuts and bolts. So today we'll have a look at how to check your chain. So firstly, let's have a look at how you check your chain for actual sprocket and chain wear. What you do is you pull back on the chain, and if it's extremely loose, then that shows excessive wear on the chain and sprockets. And if you have a look at the teeth, if they're worn in one direction, that also shows that there's excessive wear. So in this case, it only pulls back a couple of millimeters, so that's okay, and this bike hasn't done a lot. So the second thing we have to do is check the chain tension. So the chain tension, go to the middle of the chain between the sprocket, rear sprocket and the front sprocket, press up and press down. Now you see this one has probably about 1.5 inches travel. That's way too much. Now on a traditional motorbike, say a dirt bike, the sprocket is offset from the pivot on the swing arm, which means as the suspension gets compressed, the chain actually gets tighter. But that's not the case on the Sur Ron, because what they've really cleverly done is put the sprocket on the pivot of the swing arm. So as the swing arm travels up and down, the tension stays the same. So what this means is you can actually tighten the chain tighter than you would on a traditional motorbike. So this is definitely too loose. That might be acceptable on a normal dirt bike, but definitely not on the Sur Ron. So what do we need to do to adjust this chain? Well, we need 3 tools: 17mm socket or ring spanner, 10mm ring spanner or open ender. Open ender is actually better. We need a 6mm Allen key for the other side of the axle. And what we're going to do is loosen the axle first. So we put the 17mm on this side, 6mm on the other. Make sure the bike can't fall over. See, I had that fairly tight. Okay, so once it's loosened, what we do is we adjust outwards with the 10mm open ender, one side just a little bit. Now there's notches on the side here, little notches on the bottom, so we can line those up. So that's about 6 notches back. Do the same on the other side. Wind it out. Check our tension. A little bit more. Got to keep the wheel in line. You'll see the chain starting to go up now. Just a little bit at a time. Doesn't take much. I'm going to make it a little bit tighter to compensate for the stretch, because it is going to stretch again. Okay, so we've got probably just over 1/2 inch of play there in the center. That's quite acceptable. So what we'll do is we'll tighten this back up and we'll recheck it, because sometimes when you tighten it, it gets tighter again. Notice how it got a little bit tighter? But that's still okay. Now what you need to do is go back and just nip up the lock nuts so that it can't move. And obviously double check that you've got the adjustment equal on both sides. Okay, that's all nipped up. recheck it again just in case. Yep, it's tight. And there you have it. Chain's adjusted.